Yate. That's Dene or Navajo for good day. So let me introduce myself. I'm the real Jim Briggs. Pleased to meet you. Right. So I've been doing this stuff. It's like when I was 7 or 8. I was making muzzle loaders out of my BB gun, you know, and then it just progressively got worse. So after my failed attempt at being civilized, is I preferred the life of a hunter-gatherer rather than being a wage slave, right? And that just ain't me. So I'm back to doing what I love to do, right? So so a lot of folks call this like living history and reenactment, experimental archaeology, but for me it's always been a way of life, right? With the exception of the stint at being civilized, right? And you know, a lot of folks will try to portray, pick a character, a historical character, a time period, and make a persona, and then do all the research and things like that, right? And that's bloody awesome, right? So I can't be anybody other than me. but if I was to choose a particular historical character that I kind of feel akin to, it'd have to be Simon Girty. Right? Simon Girty is they called him a traitor, but to me he's he just must have preferred the Native American ways, the Indian ways, than the civilized life, right? I feel much the same, right? So last 2 months I've been busy, a little over 2 months now, like sewing and researching and building things and getting ready for the big expedition up the Missouri River, which is like, it's getting about 2 weeks away, to a little over 2 weeks away. It's like, I'm gonna take a trial run on a 22-mile run down the Missouri River to a rendezvous at Fort Mandan here this coming weekend, and I'm going to do a bunch of videos on all the gear and all the research that I've done and on my sources and things like that. That'll be coming up in the future, and more gear. But today I was going to go over Sweet Marie. I know that I was going to name that little 45 Colt Henry Sweet Marie, but I'll find another name for that gun. This is Sweet Marie now. Sweet Marie, and my shooting pouch, and what it kind of, well, basically I'm just start videoing how I run, right? Basic things. So but there's some of the places and some of the things that I've seen as far as shooting bag, right? To me, it's not a possible bag. It's like, I've seen folks like throw enough stuff in there to free Ireland, you know. And it's like, well, Jesus, shooting bags should be small. Shooting bags should be what you need to feed your firearm and keep her functioning, right? And not much more than that. Like, actually, nothing more than that, right? So we're gonna go over that. First I'm gonna go over Sweet Marie, right? So a couple things on this one, like I showed it on the other video. So I've crowned or coned the muzzle here, so I can just thumb start a ball. Now a lot of folks shoot a bare ball in there, and that's fine too, but I kind of still like a patch ball. If I'm gonna shoot ball, I like buckshot a lot better too, but and of course then I coned the touch hole a little bit too. Yeah, I switched to flintlock like in 1979, right? Because I had one of those little nipple hugger guns. That was actually a nice gun too, but but I had a hang fire. Excuse me. Had a hang fire on like a 30-yard broadside shot on a nice bull elk, and it's like, oh man. So yeah, after that, I sold that. It was a layman trade gun. It was, but it was a nipple hugger. So I switched to flintlock and never had a problem ever since. Never had. Not that I haven't had misfires if like we're shooting 20, 30 rounds or something like that. But first shot, yeah, no worries. So, I go over this. So, in the damp and the rain and things like that, what I'll do is I'll run a little tallow around the pan, close her up, and tallow over the top where the frizzen meets the barrel. And then I have this right here. So this is a block cover. Folks call it a cow's knee. Most of the time they're made out of leather. I made this one out of oilcloth, and it fits right over like so. And then I'll tie it down around there very loosely so I can get at it really quick. Now I've never had first shot, never had a misfire. So that's it right there. Now oilcloth was available. So, and you'll see as I go over some of my sources and things like that, Lewis ordered yards and yards and yards of oilcloth, right? And had like 45 oilcloth bags made for the Corps of Discovery. And this is cotton. I'm pretty sure his was linen, but I'm still doing some research on that one. So, yeah, handy stuff, boy. The handy stuff. So, and nothing wrong with a greased leather one. Cow's knee. Nothing wrong with that either. I carried on. I used one of those for a long time too. So, is that? Yeah. We're gonna go in the shooting bag. Shooting bag. So, oh yeah, I gotta show you my new horn. Hi, Mimi. Oh, hi, Mimi. I'll show you my new horn here. So, it took me a lot longer to build this than I should have taken, but there it is. It's a little over 3/4 pound of powder. It's I wouldn't mind having a little bit more in there, but I like the hole in my the end of it a little bigger than most folks like, right? So it makes it easier to fill, and I don't want to be hanging around when I'm trying to charge my rifle. Where it trickles out, right? Your powder trickles out. Yeah, that ain't no good, right? So, you know, the spout, and I'm pretty particular about being historically correct, right? I like to have things documented and sources, but if there's any probability, right, or a high probability that something wasn't used, and I'm going to go over a couple things that may be kind of controversial, but I'm running with them because I'm guessing they probably had it, right? So, and one of the things I've never seen this, I can't document it, but there's my charger, right? It's hanging off my horn. It's my spout. So this is 80 grains. So I'll be shooting 80 grains, 2F to start with. And then I got another charger too for a heavier load, right? Yeah, turned out all right. It took me bloody ever to get this thing done, but kept mucking up. Mucked up one horn, ended up making it a salt horn, made it a flat horn, it's a salt horn now. So this is not a possibles bag. So this is my bag, right? I would have loved it to have been out of blacksmith side, but I didn't. This is what I had, what I could find for leather, and I think it'll be just fine, right? So I'm a little fella, right? I think they pretty much tended to be. Now my time period in my historical time period, I guess you might call it, like 1790 to 1820-ish, right? It's and for me, it's the core discovery, the opening up of the West, the getting out and being in the West, and the Northwest Company boys. That could have been one of those fellas. Yeah, they're pretty good out there. So first thing is, here's my vent pick. I just slide it right down in a hole in there. It keeps it pretty good. I don't use a brush, pan brush, or whisk, or whatever the hell they call it. I always use to wipe my pan out. I always use the tail of my hunting shirt or my work smock or whatever, you know, and that works. To me, it works a hell of a lot better than that little whiskey thing. So inside we have. I've seen people put all kinds of stuff in their bags, right? So inside I have the other charger. This is 110 grains, right? So well, I really haven't I haven't even shot this bugger yet, but that's going to happen soon, right? So there's the charger. There's a tan of tallow, a little bit of beeswax in it. I like to run about for my gun and things. I rendered a bunch of beef tallow the other day. It's about 10% beeswax and mostly tallow, because I want the grease and not so much the wax on the working parts of my gun. Anyway, I don't know if it really makes that big of a difference, but it just makes sense to me, right? So there's the tallow. Here's another controversial thing. The bullet block, right? I don't know if there's not any documentation yet, but is it a reasonable possibility that they were carried on the frontier? Yeah, I think it probably is. It's not really a far stretch from like a cartridge box with the wooden things inside the cartridge box and paper cartridges inside. And ain't a far stretch to go from there to this, right? So I'm running with it until I know different, right? And the bullet bag, 6 O's. It's going to be shot bag. I haven't made any shot yet, or buckshot, one or the other. I quite like buckshot, especially as my eyes are getting a little not as good as they used to be, right? So buckshot's pretty handy. So that'll be there for that. I got a bunch of linen cloth. It's for patches or cleaning, things like that. I'm gonna pick up tow, because I like tow to clean my gun, but I just can't. I haven't got any yet. And I'm gonna get a tow worm too, but that'll be done. Now, this is a bag mold. You can see I've wrapped the handles in buckskin, and actually it's double layered, right? So when you're running ball, and that is all that I used to shoot, was ball I ran out of the campfire. You need to get this thing hot. It's got to be hot, right? So you don't have any handles wrapping. You can be having a heck of a time you can be having fun, right? Running the ball, right? So yeah, I would highly recommend if you're using your bag mold to actually make ball, usable ball in particular, right? Because if it's cold, right, you can get the wrinkle balls, and then it's like they go. Who knows where they go? They go all over the dang place, right? So Wrap her up, get her warm when you're running your ball. Now, to run the ball, so this is a little, oops, wrong way, lead ladle, folding lead ladle from the Track of the Wolf. And I gotta say, I'm not that impressed with it, right? It's cool, but it's too bloody small. It's more like a soup spoon, right? So this thing, right, by the time, well, if you were running 36 caliber balls, you could get a few of them. But it's like, damn, I just run three 360 balls, and I got to melt more lead in my mold's cooling off of everything else. But it's what I got, so I'll run with it. I had back in the day, I had a lovely bag mold, or not bag mold. Well, I did that too, but lead ladle. A fellow by the name of Joe Dealeron had forged me one, and it did a great job. It was awesome, right? But it was like 3 times the size of this bugger. But it is what it is, and I'll run with it. Be okay for running shot, making shot. So that's gonna be good. All right, that part will be good. Running ball, I mean, I've got my I got my doubts on that one. But you never know. It might turn out. So inside the bag too, I got a little pouch right there, and I'm gonna get into these guys here in a minute. So I got a couple extra gun flints in there. I got some French ambers in there. Okay, I got about a couple of them. Oh, that ain't a French amber. That's some gray thing, right? But I got a French amber in Sweet Marie right now, which I prefer. And I'm going to try to make a gun flint out of. Oh yeah, in the bottom of this thing I got wads for short. There's a knife. This is Knife River flint. Supposedly the best flint in the world, and I'm going to try to knock a gun flint out of that. So I'll keep it back for there. That stuff, that Knife River flint was traded all over the country, and it's only found in just a few spots right on the Knife River, just not far from here. Now, the last thing that I carry there is this tool right here. That right there. It's a 3-way tool. It's copied off of original. It was dug up on the 1825 rendezvous site at Henry's Fort, and it's supposed to be Spanish made. So, this tool, I value this so much, right? So as soon as I got Sweet Marie, I looked about, cast about, trying to find this tool in the nubbins. I finally found a blacksmith down in Georgia, Old Town Blacksmith was his name. Make one, and it's a three-way tool. So you got a turn screw there. Now that ramrod puller, you can use it for other things too, but ramrod puller, which is huge, because you're out in the bush and you get a stuck ramrod, you kind of ruins your day, right? And then a fire striker. I'm gonna get into fire too here in just a minute, because I see lots of folks carry their flint and steel and fire starting kit inside their shooting bag, and I'm gonna go with that in a minute. So anyway, so I ordered this one, and it just came yesterday, right? But I was getting pretty concerned that it wasn't going to get here, because the blacksmith there got backed up pretty bad. He must be a pretty popular fella, so he got backed up. So I called. I didn't want to leave without one of these, right? And I was concerned that it wasn't going to get here, so I called my friend Rick Trumbo, who's a blacksmith down in Kentucky, You know, I sent him a picture of the drew diagram and sent him a picture of it, and then he built me one, right? So then I filed her on down, ground her on down to fit the screws on my lock, right? So there's one screw, then I can slide that over. There's another screwdriver, turn screw, right? And then there's a fire striker as well. Bloody awesome tool, bloody awesome. So, and a lot of folks, right? So Louisiana was Spanish, so it's supposed to be a Spanish origin in this tool. The Spanish held Louisiana territory for 30 years or something like that after French and Indian War and 7 Years' War, and right up until just before the Corps Expedition took off, right? And it was then they handed it over to the French for like 5 minutes, and then it turned to, then it was American, right? They call after the flag, the Day of Three Flags, I think is what it's called in St. Louis, something like that, right? Where the Spanish flag came down, French flag went up for all of a minute or two, and then it came down, and the American flag went up, right? That was pretty interesting stuff. It was like, so. Though that pretty much takes care of what I got in my bag. So back to the fire, right? So I don't like being redundant when I'm carrying things, you know, out in the bush, especially if I'm on foot. If I'm in a canoe, or if I have a pack horse, it's a little different. If I'm walking, hoofing it with Shanks mare, and or I'm riding a single horse. Yeah, redundancy is not a good thing, but there's two things that I don't mind being redundant in, and one is fire, and the other is having blades, knives, right? So now I've only got two that are period right now. So I got my the old butcher knife, and then the old neck knife, the old trap string Rick Trumbo knife, but nice. And fire, right? Fire. So I carry my strike light, my fire starting kit. It's always on my belt, right? And this built a new bag for it, but it's always on my belt. So if I get separated from my haversack or my shooting bag, if I happen to be carrying it in there, right, then you're stuck without fire. So I've got several ways of making fire. And this is oilcloth. I'm keeping my fire, especially right since I'm doing canoeing a lot. Yeah, oilcloth's not a bad thing at all to have, right? When you're in a canoe. So there's my firelight kit. I have a burning glass too. It's been with me now. Potlatch to me, I don't know, 40 years ago or so. Pretty nice thing though. Yep, works pretty dang good too, as long as the sun's out. So got those way. I got a fire striker here, and plus gun flint and whatever too. Now you can use the lock in your gun, right, for a flintlock if you got a flintlock, right. Nipple hugger guys, you're out of luck. But run a feather in a touch hole, close it up, and of course no priming powder in there too. And then you can spark it off, and I'm not gonna spark it off, right? So to me that's a last resort thing, because the gun flint only has so many strikes, right? And I don't want to take a strike away from building a fire when I can build a fire with my other flint and steel, right? So last resort though, I would use it and have my fun still here, right? But anyway, that's the beginnings of how I run, right? So, like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more videos here coming up, probably this week. I got oh yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy. So I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head to go over. I mean, go over with you. So the canoes, I'm gonna do a video on the canoe itself, and I've got a sail for it. It's like going upriver in the 175 miles upriver against the current. Most of it is reservoir though, lake. So all but the last 10 or 15 miles actually is in reservoir lake, but you're still going upstream, and the predominant wind here comes from the northwest. So and that is, I'm heading directly into it. So I built the mast, sail, everything for the canoe, and we'll see how that works. I've practiced a little bit. I can when I get it right, it's good. It works great. When I don't get it right, it's like, oh man, it's a pain in the butt, but it'll make more trouble than it's worth. But I'll get her nailed down. Yeah. Anyway, and all the gear, everything that I'm taking, I'll do that video here soon too. Anyway, cheers. I'll talk to you later, mate.